let's call this meeting to order.
Cool.
Welcome, Tricia.
Thank you.
It's very nice to
It's very nice to
have you at our
meet
meeting.
you all.
So, yeah, I think every month we comment on how great story time is going, and what a spectacular job that you're doing. So
Thank you.
We feel very fortunate, and I know Chris feels very fortunate.
Yep.
And so we are very excited to have you here. So, I don't know. Should we get started with the director's report?
Wait, should we introduce ourselves?
Do you know who we are? Do you?
I've only met you guys in passing.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry. Yes, I'm Connie Strittmatter. I am chair of the trustees. So.
Nice to meet you, Connie.
Tom Robinson.
Yes.
Morgan Brinker.
Christy Gogan.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you. And I'm so excited to see the Saturday times.
Yes, we actually have quite a few Saturdays
Yeah, that's
this
great.
January because we've got those fun slew of Monday holidays in January. So.
Oh, okay. Good.
So we're doing the Saturday story times. Just this next week, we have 3 story times. So
Wow.
it'll be a lot of fun.
Yep. Very cool.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, you're up.
All right, director's report for January 4th, 2023. We had 0 curbside pickups, 293 patrons. We had 6 classes of students with 11 visits and a total of 245 students attending. Our storytime attendees, we had 43 adults, 58 children for a total attendance of 101, and we had 7 December storytime events. For volunteers, we have 2 with a total of 7 visits and a total of 22.75 hours for the month. Our Not Just Knitting, we only had 1 event with 5 attendees. 0 new cards. Our Facebook page reach was 2,187. Total page likes is 852. Page followers, 953. Facebook page and profile visits for December were 327. Instagram page reach was 46 with 137 followers and 4 profile visits for Instagram. Our most popular Facebook posts for number 1 is the school vacation week with 1,017, followed by number 2 our Storytime holiday stories, 921. We had 56 Wi-Fi connections in December and 468 website visits. For our library numbers, Hubbardston items circulated regardless of location, 1,449. All items circulated at Hubbardston, regardless of ownership, 1,555. We had 240 requested holds. We have 1,509 total patrons registered at Hubbardston. Total number of items is 11,662. For Overdrive, our monthly checkouts for December were 606. Holds on Overdrive, apparently I can break this down, so that's what I did. Our e-audios was 131. Our e-book was 204 for a total of 335 holds for the month of December. The Senior Book Club met on December 27th and discussed The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan. There were 4 in attendance. The group will meet on January 24th at 11 a.m. to discuss The Silent Patient by Alex, I'm not going to say it right, Michaelides, at the Senior Center in the Slade Building at 7 Main Street. The display for the adult and children's reading room for December were winter holidays. The January display will be themed around resolutions such as healthy eating and exercise, and that will be in both the adult and the children's room as well. The website improvements are up and live and they look good. I will be showing Ann how to update the site. I will also be putting up window installation sheets in the basement to help reduce heat loss during the winter in January 2024. Respectfully submitted, Christine Barbera. And the numbers on the financial sheet is the most up to date as of December 31st.
Any questions about the director's report?
Thank you.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes.
Were we able to submit Wendy Frontiero's invoice for $5,200 for the long range ATM?
No, but it will be done in the next warrant.
Okay.
I
okay.
apologize for that.
Nope, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure. I know when that's off the radar. 'Cause-
I have it in my bills to be paid pile.
Okay, perfect. All right. Did everyone have a chance to review the December meeting minutes? Any
Yes.
corrections that need to be made?
I did not see any. I'm happy to make a motion to accept the December 2023 minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? So 4-0.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about strategic planning. So we've talked about this. It's been on the calendar, or it's been on the agenda the last couple of months, and we've kind of been faltering along. But I think I'm hoping maybe in this meeting we can try to start to get a game plan going, at least for the survey that we would want to do, a community survey. And also think about whether or not we want to do strategic planning as a whole committee, or if we want to break out into a working group, similar to what the policies committee is doing, to do some of the work and bring information back. So we just want to make sure we get this done by the end of July, and sometimes July can be here before we know it. So did everyone have a chance to review the existing plan?
The plan and,
Action
did
plans.
you work on the progress report so far? Whose work was yellow highlights? Was that you, Connie?
Yellow highlights. Oh yes,
Under
the progress report. Yeah,
It
Chris
looked
and I.
really
Chris
great.
and I
It
met
looked really great.
last week, and we went
Okay.
through and talked about kind of where we were at, the progress we had made over the course of the last plan. So we just get a picture of, where were we being strong in, where are we doing okay, is there something we weren't doing, and if we weren't doing it, maybe it's because at the time we thought it was important and now it's not important, or it's something that we think is still important, we just need to put more effort into. So the progress report in yellow just kind of states kind of what we've been doing over the past 5 years.
And I think that was kind of helpful. I think where we've already gone through it, it may not be necessary, but today Krista shared with me there's a book that's available both
Convenient
in
book.
print as well as electronic with worksheets in it, and I didn't know if that would be interest. or
Is that
of
the
interest.
PowerPoint that you put together for
Mhm.
tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're ready, I can tell you more about that. But I don't know if it was okay, but I made a few comments on the progress report. It was really great what you did, but one thing was we did some things that weren't in there, like the book sale.
Mhm.
There was some, so anyway, I just added those on there so they could be, I forget, there were like two or three things. And the report said to do, was something about taking patron requests, but you do that through the Overdrive now. So it's like a sort of another way of doing the same kind of thing.
Not
Let
really.
me bring it up.
No, because Overdrive is only requests for electronic media, so electronic books and electronic audio. If somebody were to ask for a physical item to be purchased by the library, they would either come in to see me and say, could you buy this? Or they would send me a message through Facebook, which doesn't happen too often. But now we have a request form on the new website where people can request physical items.
So
Right.
this is goal 3, objective 1, I guess, if you need
In
to refer
the-
to it.
But
Yeah.
it's like another way we're doing it, is what I'm saying. It doesn't replace
No, it's
those
not.
other-
It's Overdrive and physical items and electronic items are two different animals. Someone could ask, I want the audio book of Lessons in Chemistry, which is great. I can buy that at Overdrive and it can go up onto Libby and they can borrow it. But if someone were to walk in and say, I want to borrow your your lessons in chemistry on CD and I don't have it, then that's a request for
And
a
you would
physical
buy it.
item, and then I would purchase it. Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying it's like an added feature that we didn't have when we 5 years ago. So I think it's,
Okay.
you know, it's another way you can serve the patrons by getting them access to things. Like
By
you-
using Overdrive.
Exactly. And you monitor that.
Yeah, now I monitor.
That's what I
would-
mean, where you're checking to see if Hubbardson patrons are asking for these things and
Well, actually, no. What it is that what I get from Overdrive is what are the holds. You know, and that tells me what the holds are for the total, but I don't know what the holds are specifically that people are requesting on Overdrive for that.
okay, maybe I misunderstood. I thought you could tell if Hubbardson people were waiting for something and then you could add a copy or something. Anyway, it's not meant to be a big discussion. It just seemed like something else we're doing that we could include in the plan that we couldn't
Okay.
do before.
Okay.
But maybe I'm misunderstanding
So
what it is.
In the past, is it accurate to say that a majority of the requests for materials would come in verbally, like at the checkout?
That's exactly how it would.
So with the new website form, as we promote the new website and things like that, if nobody hasn't exclaimed, hey, beautiful new website,
Right.
we could say one of the new features is
Mhm.
this form.
Right.
This is where you can request.
Yes, we can do
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So how do we, do you want to talk, I just talk about strategies, because maybe the strategies will inform how we want to move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Um, Sorry. These are the handouts that you might have to share because I don't.
I actually,
I
got
I have it.
Oh, you print it out so you get your own.
Oh, thank you for you.
So this is from this book, which was recommended on the MBLC website and is specifically for public libraries, although, you know, most libraries are much larger than ours. So I looked at this book to see if it seemed like it would be helpful for us. And I think there's a lot of things in here that we could use, but I don't think we need their full-on, you know, process because, well, A, we don't have the resources maybe to do that, and B, we had already talked about maybe just reviewing our current plan and then just tweaking it. So if any of this is like too much or too overwhelming, you know, we don't have to do it, but I thought there were some good, you know, suggestions in here. So the first slide is just what's covered in this book. So they have a whole thing about defining the task and the roles and figuring out who's going to work on it, which we have talked about a little bit. But one thing I thought was very helpful was the idea of having an advisory board of people who aren't, you know, aren't trustees or staff, you know, just other people who might be able to help us with this, like another set of eyes, you know, to see, you know, what we might be missing. So I thought that was helpful. And evaluate the need for external support, meaning do we want to hire somebody to help us with that? I'm not really sure what they mean by communications plans, but, you know, just keeping people informed about what we're doing. The part 2 is about the getting information from the, you know, from the community. So we already talked about the survey, but they do talk about different types of questions and, you know, which types of questions can help you find out different kinds of things. And then also identifying existing data sources, like maybe some information's already available, you know, like the town has numbers and, you know, different things like that that we can get. So we should be thinking about what else could be available. This SOAR and SWOT and SMART are explained on the next page, so I can talk about that in a second. But the bottom of the first page, this goals of strategic planning, I thought this was kind of helpful. Like, why are we going through this, you know? We want to highlight our successes. We want to assess the community, identify stakeholders, which includes people who don't use the library because, the town resources are paying for the library, so we want to make sure, we are doing our best to get, help or reach everybody, or at least, let them know what's available, which I think we're doing a lot of that. Clarify the priorities, and this is often an issue, like, it's always easier, maybe not easier, but you want to add new things, but sometimes you have to drop other things off. Like maybe we have things that are, that we don't need to do anymore, or like we're phasing out the recordings, what do you call those things? The books on tape.
Books on CDs.
That kind of thing. We just don't have as much need for that anymore. Identify new trends and possibilities. So I think that's really important, figuring out what things didn't exist when we wrote this plan, or what, maybe some future trends that, could be helpful. Anyway, and the second part is, the second slide is engaging the community, measuring progress, reaching non-users. These are kind of like the main goals. Creating a living document that can be used, which you need for the, the annual reports, and engaging staff. Okay. So these acronyms are just tools that can be used, and this book has microscopic worksheets. So we have to actually buy it in order to be able to read these really nice worksheets.
Yeah,
so it's not a
lovely.
problem. It just didn't come with this is a copy from another library. So some of those could be helpful, like if we decided to have a separate session and, just brainstorm, what are our strengths? What do we really want to do that we're not doing now? These kind of big topics: strengths, aspirations, opportunities, results, and then, weaknesses, threats, funding, or, not having good access to our building, whatever those things are. So I think these techniques could be helpful, but I'm not suggesting that we have to do them. We have to just decide whether we want to try to, use some of these as part of our process. And then the last part is this, we have, like we were just looking at, we have big goals, and then we have objectives that are parts of those goals. So trying to figure out what those should be, and make sure that they follow this guideline, that they're measurable, that they're achievable, that they're relevant, and that they're can be accomplished at the time frame that we that we have. And so these were just some examples that they had in the book. Like, the outputs are how you measure it. So program attendance, website hits, these are things we're already doing. And then the last one relates to what we were going to talk about possibly again tonight, about the mission, the vision, and the values. And they have some examples in here of like one sentence missions, which I'm not saying we should do that, but I mean there's ways to word them so they're very concise. She had this format, or they had this format: the library's mission is to blank for blank in order to blank, like just kind of keep it straightforward. So I think our current mission and the ones where we've been talking about would meet this, but this is just kind of like a overview to just kind of make it so we could be targeted and not do more than we have to do for the strategic plan. So I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I think I will buy this book and we can look at the forms, because you really can't read them in here, to see whether we think they would be helpful, to kind of get us going. And the section on questions I thought was really helpful also.
Is that a purchase that we as trustees could have and would be on hand for future use, that you feel would be
Is that
useful?
something I can get from the ALA?
Yeah.
Then I can order that.
Okay. It comes in two ways. It comes as this with an email of the forms, or like I don't know if it comes in a folder or what. Anyway, so you can have the book and the forms, or it comes as a PDF with a link, which might be good. Like Morgan was pointing out, maybe we have to figure it out, but maybe it could go on the, be linked in the trustees' site so everybody could access it.
Or if it's,
I can send you the order information, but
Yeah.
I didn't know which would be better. Probably the digital.
if it could be stored like with either the library director and or trustees as an electronic, and then we can share it and access the worksheets.
Well,
That
once
was
you
the
got it into
thought.
the Hub Trustees account drive, it should be available to everybody, so.
That
yeah.
was my thought process.
Okay.
Yeah, I could just go into strategic planning folders.
Can I see a little bit?
Yeah. I think the issue, it might be that it's going to be emailed, so I don't know if,
Oh, so you can't download it as a PDF?
It
Oh, you
sounds like you can. So that's where I was thinking it would be still sent, and they would send you, like they would email you either the attachment or instructions to download it. I would think that would be too large as an attachment. but
I
unless
mean, I
it's
imagine the
encrypted.
form, I mean, at the very least, you could probably reproduce the forms, like.
It's just a matter of, it's like $45.
Mhm.
So a matter of how much is your time worth to get a couple hundred worksheets.
Mhm.
I don't know. And I don't, some of them, again, I think would apply to more urban libraries, but they may be adaptable to our needs.
it-
While you're here and you have your thumb like on the pulse of quite a few community members,
Oh, yes.
And you have lots of notes, I see.
Oh, yes.
do
she
you have
gave me-
ideas?
Yes. So, do I have ideas? Chris loves when I walk into her office and say, I had an idea. They usually happen at 3 a.m. After I've just convinced my 4-year-old that it is time to go back to sleep and not be 2 inches from my face. So yeah, I have a couple ideas. The best part about being the storytime lead is I get access to our youngest residents and their moms. Those moms are fantastic. And they have ideas too, or they talk about, or I don't know how many times I hear it when I have a parent showing up for the first time to story hour. I've never been in the Hubbardston Library. Or I grew up here and I forgot the library was here. Ouch. But okay. And I actually have a big group of moms coming from Barry this week, Saturday, story time, because Ryan goes to pre-K in Hardwick, and now he's in a big community of friends. So I'm pulling from them as well. But yeah, I have a couple hundred ideas. But like one is this objective here for goal 4, explore developing a young adult program. We have something for our littles, and we have something for, we have the Libby program for our moms, our busy moms who I know listen to, I can hear them in the pickup line listening to their books. It's great. But we don't have anything for our mid-grade kids. We didn't have a Boy Scout troop for a little while. We have one back, which
Oh, we
is
do?
Apparently, I was
Good.
told we had one. So there's a couple of things. There is Dungeons and Dragons one-off campaigns, so it would just be the campaign for that night. It wouldn't be an overreaching arc. I could have them be similar, but nothing. It ends right at that session. So
like one session.
it's one
I guess,
session. They're called one-off sessions, so it's just the one storyline, and then we finish it at the end.
A quick asterisk on that as well. Being a library, you guys are able to reach out to whoever makes Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
They still should provide libraries with really nice sets.
They do. They send everything. It comes in like this. They call it a war chest, and it comes in this big chest and instructions and the rules and how to get kids started and extra dice for kids who don't have them. That whole thing. They also work with libraries to bring in people who do this for a living. So, but my brother-in-law and all of his friends have decided to train me. So I'm being currently
I
trained.
have 2 teams that would be of interest.
Yes, and that's the other thing is reaching out to Quabbin.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things going on, so I'm going to have a meeting with the superintendent, and I'm terrified. I feel like I'm going back to the principal's office. The other thing is Lego Build Night. Lego also pairs with libraries, especially more rural libraries where Legos are expensive.
Yes.
They're extremely expensive. And we do make some qualifications for an under a per capita income, whatever. So we're right under that. And they said they would, if you apply for it, and usually get it, but they can send in Legos for a Lego build night. I know that one of the local libraries that I've been to, I think it might be Ashby or one of them, does a Lego minifig trade night. So the kids can come and trade their minifigs and stuff like that. But I was thinking a Lego build night. That way it can be anywhere from, you know, our older kids, so like my kids that are 7 and 8, to our big Lego enthusiasts. I told my husband he cannot come, but you know, our high schoolers, our middle schoolers. And the other thing is there is a grant for a graphic novel. Graphic novels are extremely popular, especially with middle school to high school kids. We have not only graphic novels, but we have Madison, who takes out all of the manga books.
She is very comfortable with interlibrary loans, so she gets all the manga books from all the different libraries.
All the different libraries, and she usually has a nice stack going in our whole department.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What would the grant fund?
The grant fund would provide our library with a whole slew of graphic novels. So they would send us
For the purchase of,
for the purchase. Oh no, we don't even have to purchase them. They will send them to us.
but they would be added to our collection.
They would be added to our collection, yes. Here, hold on, let me grab the... Then on top of that, they would give us a fund to have a graphic novel party. And sometimes, if we're within an area of a graphic novelist, they'll let that author know, and they will come to do a signing as well.
Is this an ALA grant or?
This is the Eisner Graphic Novel Grant.
Oh, wow, cool.
So I'm looking into it, and the deadline is February, but I have all the information printed, and it's just going through and writing all of the things that they ask you things multiple times, but just in a different way, and it's like, I thought I answered that already. But, so that's one thing that I've had. But like I said, I have 1,000 ideas, and that would take up the whole meeting. But that, and then the only other thing is we've talked about it, the Facebook and Instagram, getting more people to view the Facebook and the Instagram. That's how we'll get out the website and all that other stuff. So yeah, those are my thoughts. But
Oh, great.
So I would highly recommend putting her as a part of our strategic group plan,
that's great.
working group.
Yep.
Thank you for coming and sharing your ideas.
oh, no problem. If
Thank you
guys-
for all your success with Storytime too. Thank you.
I'm hoping to make it grow. The Snowplow Storytime shocked me. I didn't realize because I got the school involved. So I think in total to the Storytime we had 200 kids. Both kindergarten classes came, plus I had almost 20 kids.
25.
I had 25 kids for the Snowplow Storytime. So we're gonna do that again, but with the fire trucks, and we're gonna do the book Fire Truck versus Dragon.
Oh,
So hopefully it'll go from there, and then the police want to get involved because they don't want to be left out.
have a little bit of a war.
So we'll just watch them try to one up each
So
other.
if you have attendance numbers, one gentle slight nudge of saying, well, so this year these are the totals, let's see what we can do next year. See
Yes.
if you can.
I'm gonna see if I
pull it
can
back
make
in.
it pull
Yeah.
it back in. The only thing that fingers crossed does not happen is we have a COVID resurgence, and because I worry, because I have 3 week. The youngest one that comes to Storytime is 3-week-old twins that come, and I'm
Can they read?
no. Their little sister is a cherub. Their older sister is a cherub. So that's the only thing I worry about is the COVID resurgence, and then what will we do? So I've already talked to the moms about what that might look like if we do have, we do shut down for a little while. We've talked about recording the story times. I will put together Storytime craft bags, and I will sit on the stone steps and pass them out in the beginning of the week on Monday, so the moms can come and get the crafts. The kids can then pop me up on YouTube, on the TV. The moms can do what they love. They like to sit and relax, and I'll be entertaining the children from the library. So that is the plan in place, but that's the worst case. But I think there is a way to track who views the videos and how many times it's
Yeah.
viewed.
But thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem.
And thanks for planning.
So, like I said, if you have any questions, you know where to find me either through Chris or you can stop by my lovely office in the basement.
Can I just ask one thing
Yes.
about, maybe we could capture some of the comments you're getting a little more formally? If we had like a little paper or, like with a link or something?
Of
Create a
Would it
really
be
cool
appropriate
hashtag.
to distribute that at the,
Yeah, of course.
or let people know? I mean, we're not ready for that yet, but I mean,
Right.
do you
We
think
could do
that would be
QR
appropriate?
code,
Yeah.
Yeah.
postcards, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Because,
The
it's good that
moms-
they're telling you, but it'd be good if we had some of it in writing
Yeah,
too.
we will get it in writing. The moms,
One
Love.
idea is a really cool hashtag with Instagram and things like that, and
Yep.
get them to use it.
Yep.
Use it over and over and share
Yep.
it, and maybe it might snowball.
one of the strategic plans is the Facebook and the Instagram. I would love to give it a makeover if you would allow me. I grew up in a very weird digital age because I am I hate it when they call me this, but it's an elder millennial. So we remember dial-up. We remember life before cell phones. I think I got my cell phone at 13 because that's when they were you could get one.
This is interesting. Generation Z and millennials lead library use.
Yes.
So
We
it's
have Paige now, and I would love to use her as a mascot. I'd love to take her to
Yes.
all the different places where we have passes so she can get the word out, because it seems that whenever she's in the picture, we have an uptick in...
We do.
Yep.
We do.
So,
Great job with Paige.
thank you.
She did a good job.
She's getting a none such apple needle felted for her, so we can use that as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
I'm sorry to ditch and run, but
No.
now I
No,
have to
thank
change
you.
my hats
Thanks for
to
coming.
the land use clerk.
Thank you very much.
No problem. You guys have a great night. Stay
too.
warm.
So, I'm ignorant. Is Paige our mascot?
Yes.
Okay.
She's the
It's a little bookworm.
That's what I
We have a
thought.
little
Okay.
bookworm that came in.
You
She
have
was-
great staff.
I have great staff.
Yeah.
I do. They're very motivated. They're very passionate, and they both love the library. So it's makes my job a lot easier.
Is she being paid for all her work?
For what she does at the yes.
I mean, like
give-
writing the grant and stuff?
I give her 8 hours a week. So
Okay. Because, I mean, we want to support
absolutely.
her extracurricular activities too, however
Right.
we can do that. I don't know.
Well, actually, we're actually a little bit under 50% expenditure on payroll. I calculated that 2 people would be working a certain number of hours, and one hasn't worked at all. One has worked like a third of what I was expecting. So there's actually a little bit of extra money that we could probably use to add a couple hours for her.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
doing the
if she
grants.
has the
Especially if she
capacity
needs it for the
for it.
grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like if we had a meeting to talk about the plan or something,
Yeah.
maybe she could be compensated for that.
Okay.
So how would we like to move forward? I feel like we keep hitting this wall where we talk about things, but we haven't like what are our next steps
For strategic planning.
for strategic planning?
I think the two main ones that we've been at is a set meeting specifically for strategic planning where we're all there, or the formation of subcommittee that comes forward and presents it to us.
Right.
And I could go, to be quite honest, either way. I see pros and cons for both.
Yep, I agree.
I would be in favor of all of us working together on it.
Okay.
Do you have a preference?
I think we might have to do both, but I think a separate meeting where we could, I mean, to me, like the priority right now is figuring out about the survey because that's going to take a little bit of time. So,
So if you think
I'm
a little
fine with
bit of both,
working
and
in-
if you have a preference, then are you comfortable with starting and setting a date to where we have a dedicated meeting?
Yeah, the whole team meeting might only be 1 or 2 of them, and then it goes off into,
Subcommittees, which I think is what Chris is
branches,
saying. Yeah.
but I think we have to start together,
Okay.
first steps.
I think that's.
So as first steps, the establishing kind of the steps in the timeline. Like, so we know we want to do a survey, right? But we know we also might want to do focus groups or have different set meetings with, Tricia and Ann as staff, you know, to kind of get their feedback and ideas. And then where we then bring it towards to select board with an idea of having something in place by July 1st, right?
Bring what to the select board?
By
The
June
draft?
30th.
Or
June 30th. Well, it'd be
Kind of do.
kind of our process, maybe feedback from them as
Mhm.
to what they might be interested in within the library. I mean, it's a quasi relationship, but it is a relationship that, you know. I mean, and this is just spitballing, right? This is like, you know, thinking
Correct.
through like, what are the steps that we went through.
And there's a
And if
really
you read through the strategic plan in the beginning, I think, or maybe just towards the end of the strategic plan, I think we might have discussed what we did before, like the process.
Okay.
Let me just see. If you go to the full plan, and if you go to page 7, you would see the planning process. So that would outline, so you'll see the survey we did in the past, which could be used as a springboard. And then I think page 7 discusses the bottom of page 7, going on to page 8, discusses like the steps that we kind of did. So that might be like a start to it, and then we can figure out where we need to fill in from there.
So we would have to get the survey out maybe by March? And so maybe meet with get on the select board agenda before that?
Most things take money. When does the select board warrant close, where you could influence the library's budget? I have a feeling it's mid-March or...
Well,
No, I think they finalize it, I think, towards the end of April. But,
Might we want to get in line for something? I don't know, because I don't know exactly what we're going to pop out of this, but
well, what are we gonna need? Because I'm not sure at this point that anything that goes into the warrant isn't gonna come. Right now, the budget's already set for FY24.
no, I meant for executing the plans in June 24 through June 25.
Okay. Well,
Presumably-
I had submitted a budget already back in November
Okay.
1st, but that was just for my basic expenditures. The 2,500 from the long-range plan from when you did this a while ago, they said they were taking it back. It's still on the budget versus actual expenditures.
okay.
So I don't know if you want to check with them to see if that's something we could use again.
What would we be using it for? 'Cause that was specifically to hire a consultant.
Right. Well,
Do we
would you
think
want?
we need a consultant? Or do we feel like we have a...
Well, how would you handle the focus group? Were you there for the focus group?
I wasn't there for the focus
I
group,
wasn't there either. I think Jane was
But-
there, but that was it.
but
And maybe the guy was. I don't know.
I did check with that institute that, I forget the name of it. but-
Collins?
Yeah, but they only work with Boston area towns, so
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
outside their view, but I could, I mean, Quinsigamond has like a psychology club or something. I don't know if we want to see if somebody could do that as like a project, or like a student. I mean, maybe a student, or I mean, I don't think it needs to be a library student. It would be more like somebody who's studying to do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
I think this could be where somebody, like our external advisory people, like if there's somebody in the town that, maybe Josephine would be willing to do that. Run, I mean, you need like a separate person to run it.
Facilitator.
Yeah, facilitator. So maybe I could ask her if you want.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but
Mhm.
it's something to kind of keep in mind.
I've never done a focus group before, so I'm not my knowledge there is minimal. I could certainly reach out to the MBLC and see if they have any forms or suggestions on how to do
I mean,
it.
I've done focus groups
Yeah.
before.
The focus groups would really be the ones that are gathering. You'd have multiple different groups, demographics that would do the SOAR and the SWORD. They would, and then you gather whether you do it. We talked about Jamboard for virtual groups and things like that, or old school paperboard, poster board,
Okay.
and gather information. You have the same type of grid line or a different format, and then you just pull all the information together and type it up into a nice report.
The thing is getting,
An
People-
impartial person. Oh, gathering people to do it too?
yeah, you know, like if we could piggyback on other meetings or other, you know, when people are already, I don't know
Yeah.
how you do that.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
that that's going to work though.
You could, but the challenge with that though too is then you're limited. You're only going to get like 1 or 2 questions, right? If you're tied in with all these other groups, you know, it won't be exclusively on the library. It does benefit that you would then have an audience, but I could see potentially where we could maybe reach out to senior center and see
Yeah.
if we can do a group. Talk to Tricia and maybe grab a group with the moms, right?
We can advertise within the.
And then do a broad
Quabbin.
general one. I think if you're interested, you know,
Yeah.
just a general.
Well, I was going to say the Quabbin now has a district-wide newsletter. So we could request information, especially if it was something like a QR code, because it's digital and it's singular, and or something that Hubbardston's principal might be able to send out to Hubbardston students.
So to ask people to participate.
Well, I think then, I think it would be a great idea to do a mix of paper surveys and electronic surveys, because you're going to get the people who are like, I don't ever want to touch a touch computer ever, and then the people who are like, paper, what's that?
Right, yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, I think having paper and
So,
distribution.
But
And perhaps we could even find like an in-person time, similar of using this setting or otherwise, bringing coffee, tea, or whatnot, but then have people be able to talk for those that don't want to do either and just want to have a chance.
yep.
But reaching people who aren't part of the you know, who don't use the library.
That will be interesting.
Yeah, but if we set up like a placard to put at the Pizza Palace
Yeah.
or Country Time or at the gas station, you know, they don't need I mean, you can have a paper copy, but you don't need one. You can just go click and off you go. So,
Yeah.
Do we have a sense of the target age group that we're trying to?
All different.
we're not, I don't think we're trying to limit the age group.
No, not limit,
Or-
but when you say, it's obvious to me, well, maybe, I don't know the numbers, but it's obvious that the younger folks are being stimulated. And our friend Patricia mentioned that the middle grades are perhaps the least represented.
Right.
And she's looking at that through a school system lens. So she's identified part of the school system age groups that is perhaps low stimulation, or whatever the right word is. I mean, if you looked across the whole town, what group would have low attendance or low use of the library? And by targeting them, you might get the biggest bang for the buck in terms of raising participation. And I can imagine it's the people who are high teen kids or in college kids, and they're working their tails off, and they don't have much extra time in their lives.
Right.
But that's just my perception.
Or they may be using it in a different way, so I could see them being the ebook.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
Or
look what this
using-
can do for you. You got a long commute, we can get you. But,
I mean,
may
if you
say-
think about it, we have 1,500 library cards in Hubbardston, and I get, I forgot how many I
yeah, where's
had.
your numbers?
I had 293 patrons for the month. You know, there are people who have library cards that never step foot in the Hubbardston Library because either they're they've got Libby, or they're commuting and they're stopping, it's easier for them to stop in Holden, or Gardner, or Westminster, you know, but they're still library patrons for us, so, not sure how to get them in there, because...
Well, I think it's important to think about, like, it's not just about getting people into the physical library. The fact that they're using Libby, you know, or the fact that they might be accessing the databases that we have access to. Like, that's library use.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's not something to be discounted as the virtual library use of the library.
True.
So if we
You have
could
to take
measure
that
that, I think that.
And we
And I
wanna
think
get-
that's what the focus groups / different surveys and things like that will bring forward is insights of how is the library used, and part of it would be demographic information. So then we could find out how different demographics are using it.
I guess you could even like just ask on Facebook, do you just use Libby? You know, we want to hear from you, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or do you know what Libby is?
Yeah, well, there's people who don't know what it is, but there's people who use that, but they don't come in the library, right? So we want to
Yeah,
try.
but if we can get the people that don't know,
Right.
start using it,
Right.
like me.
We should also ask, I think, if people use other libraries. I mean, the value of this, you know, consortium is you can use any library, and other libraries have things that we don't have, and we have things that they don't have. So it would be helpful, I think, to know if they use other libraries and why do they use them.
Right,
'Cause-
the NY part is.
Yeah.
Do we want to look at dates for our meeting? Are we at that point, or?
Yes, we can.
And we can look at our questions that we asked before, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe just see how we want to.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now.
Mhm.
And one thing that is interesting is 20% of our respondents do not go to the library for the survey. So that last survey, we were hitting people who
Yeah, that's
were
good.
non-library users.
And how was that distributed?
I think we did it via email, probably Facebook. I probably had paper copies around, I imagine.
We had
So if the
paper-
We
town
do.
could send it out for us, you know, because like we
Yeah,
get-
through that, yep. And so, and we had 154 people respond to that last survey. So,
And we didn't limit it to one per family.
no, we didn't.
If a kid wanted to fill it out.
Yep,
fill it
yeah,
out.
because we had 4 people like under age 10 complete it. So, but one of the things I don't think we asked as much about looking through this is, I feel like we did ask a question, like, what reasons do you access the library through the internet? So we got a little bit to the online usage of it. But I feel like a lot of our stuff was more focused probably on like the physical building and stuff like that. But I would encourage all of us to take a look. It's an appendix in the plan of the survey questions and see what would work and what should be modified and changed.
Okay.
But if we're looking for a date for us to really sit down and kind of start planning out like the timeline and what activities we want to do, then what works for people.
Would this be, I mean, at some point, we want to involve the staff and everybody, but you're talking about just a meeting for us?
I would say it would be us in it, but I would also, I think Tricia and Ann could also come, because I think they are going to play a pretty important
Yeah.
role. I would keep it just, that initial meeting, just like trustees and staff, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I think opening up.
But
too
so we
much,
need a
'cause we don't
date
have
that's good for
plan.
well,
Yeah.
everybody.
If we're looking at evenings, Thursdays generally work best.
I'm easy. Pick a day.
I don't know if you guys want to try, I don't know, work schedule for you, if you'd be looking at like a daytime, and I don't know if we want to push Saturday, like after the library closes for a bit.
I'm around,
As
so
an opportunity.
Yeah.
you guys pick your days.
Same with me. I'm open.
If we're looking at a Thursday, the next one I could do would be the 25th. 'Cause my following next 2 weeks are booked for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna be out of town.
When are you leaving? Oh, actually,
No.
that's not what I want to ask.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like basically the rest of January, after like the middle of the week,
You're committed.
the 14th.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I mean, I'd be happy to attend virtually. I could work that out. I just can't be here. And you can meet without me also. That's fine.
So our next meeting is, the first will be virtual, right? Yeah. February.
In February.
In February.
You mean the whole meeting is virtual? No.
I mean,
Oh,
part of it
I
will
have
be,
to attend
yeah.
virtually. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
I was
But so Anne works on Saturday already,
Yes.
and Patricia's going to be working
I don't know.
on Saturday.
She'll be working on the 13th and the 20th for story time.
I mean, it's.
I could do the
Try for the 13th.
I could do the 13th.
Is the 13th okay?
Yeah, I'll still be here.
January 13th?
Mhm.
Yep.
So it'd be like a 12 o'clock. Is that,
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to meet at the library? I would think that would be
Of course.
convenient and
Yeah.
easy.
well, so it'll be a meeting, it'll be an open meeting, so we'll need
Oh.
to make sure
Oh.
that.
So maybe not. So
No, you have to post it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It says we have to be
doesn't- It can be
recorded.
anywhere.
Oh, I
It doesn't
know.
have to be recorded.
I think their preference would be that we are, whenever possible, and if it's open, available at the Slade.
Oh.
Oh,
I have no problem.
to be
Maybe
But I don't think
I-
it's that long of a walk after close.
Okay. Yeah. I can.
So then it's a matter of if it's available.
True.
So let's just, okay. so
Shoot for that.
So
12
we'll
o'clock.
have to give a heads up to Brittany about the meeting.
Not sorry.
Tentatively looking at a meeting on January 13th, which is a Saturday at 12 noon. So, just FYI.
So we could maybe at least get through the questions and
In preparation for it, we should be refreshed on
The
strategic plan, the existing, the progress report, as well as the appendix.
Yes, I would read
Um,
through the entire plan, which has the planning process, the survey, the progress report that has the update, and then ideas for ways to gather constituent feedback.
And then if it is possible, especially, just throwing it out there, but if we're able to get the digital booklet,
Mm-hmm.
so that it can be in the folder and
I'll look
have
at it. I'll
access
look
for
at
the
it.
13th
I'll see if I
potentially?
can get it on Monday.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In that book, there is, it looked like an Excel almost timeline spreadsheet that we could have for a worksheet, and there may be a few other worksheets that we would find useful at that meeting.
so we're going to review in preparation. We're going to review the entire plan. We're going to draft, think of ideas for questions, plans for outreach. You know, try to get the word out. Anything else? Do we want to look at the goals also? That might be too much.
Are we gonna be doing that next on the agenda?
The mission, goals, and vision.
No, I meant the goals on the, oh,
Oh, well, I guess that's part of like reviewing I feel like, I guess, from my perspective, I don't think we should be thinking about goals until we've collected data.
Right. that
I
makes
agree
sense.
with you.
So, like, while we might draw from some of these goals,
Yeah, that would be the next
I would
step.
only be after it's been informed by data that we've collected that said that this should continue to be a goal. Or-
Okay.
The, I think it was from 2022, the data set 4, to where we've been building out that Excel spreadsheet.
Mhm.
I think utilizing that data too and looking for trends and pulling graphs and things like that to see, that may help establish goals. We've seen growth here. How far can we go, or establish some benchmarks? That's one of the things data driven that I would like to see if we can
Library
utilize.
data. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that does help if you set a measurable goal, you have a benchmark, and then you can say, this is what we're going to shoot for.
Speaking of the digital versus paper and things like that, kind of going back to numbers, kudos with regards to the posts with regards to July through December numbers.
Mhm.
And you had use, and I had a sticky note, and really impressive numbers of over 7,000 items with savings of over almost like $110,000 savings.
Yep.
Is that just physical items? Is that physical?
That's just physical items.
That's just physical items,
Yeah.
not taking into consideration any of the value of electronic badge.
That's
That
correct.
is astounding.
I agree.
Awesome.
How do we get that up in lights?
Yeah.
Mhm.
For a small rural library, I mean, that's amazing return on investment.
Yep. I agree.
Can that be added to your little digital announcement thing? Because not everybody's on Facebook. I don't know, just like advertise to people who come in.
Oh, you mean up on the sign
Oh,
up
on
there on
Apple.
Main Street?
No, your little
Oh, you
your little
should. No.
monitor that you have in the
Oh.
hallway. You know, like
Okay,
whatever
yep.
you put on
Yep,
on
we
Facebook.
can do that.
Because then we also would have it all in one place where we can. you know,
Right.
No, I love your idea. Why don't we just say our library in just
Yep.
a matter of months has saved the town?
Mhm.
And,
Because way to go.
Yep.
and how do you calculate that? And could it be added to the bottom of your report?
Second question is yes, I can. I go to the CWMR's website and I put in, they have getting
have
statistics for
factors.
your individual library. And I go to the report that I want and I set the date parameters and it pops up, and then I just have, the downside is I gotta add up each month, what the tallies were for what went out.
And
but-
what was the website?
It's cwmars.org. You can't access it, I have to.
I can't access anything.
Is it possible, and I don't know if we could, so you have the $110,000 savings, which is really impressive,
Yep.
but can we figure out the return on investment? Like, we spent this much in books, and they saved this much in money, so for every dollar we spend on books, we're seeing a $6 return on investment.
That would be good for like the select
do that.
board and stuff too.
Like, I just don't know, like, it's tricky to do because they're borrowing books that you weren't necessarily bought in a fiscal year, like it.
I've only tracked. I'll have to see because Jane kept the ARIS reports going back to I think 2016. So I could conceivably find out how much money she spent on adult books, kid books, things like that, because that's how the ARIS report's broken down. So I could pull that information up, and I have it myself from like 2020 onward, so I could conceivably do that.
Why-
You could say since 2020,
Okay.
right?
But-
We've
but-
spent this much money in books, and we've seen over 2020 to the present day, we've seen this much in savings, and then calculate it that way.
Or not just books, but our whole operating budget.
Because another thing that I would
This pays for the whole operating budget.
yeah, is where the town funds the library to an extent, and if we even took what the yearly town budget for the library is, that we do for expenditures, what are expenditures, but how much we save, and do that dollar to dollar. I think that's a little bit, and that's not right now including anything digital. So not taking into consideration this is already your value being put to work.
Yeah, I don't even see $100,000. Personnel, employees, support services, and supplies adds up to
And that's
90.
6 months versus a year.
No,
the
this
one,
is, I
no,
believe, the,
110 is for 6 months.
oh, yes.
Savings.
Yeah, so you're getting back at 2 or 3 to 1 on $2 or $3 on the dollar budgeted for the library.
Okay, you
Getting
guys are
back-
starting to open up in like an accounting or a percentage thing, and my brain is starting to like,
Yeah,
you know.
I
But
think,
I'm
I think it's
pretty
something
It's
like
like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just.
I'm
think
pretty
it's something
comfortable with numbers. I'd be glad
we
to
can think
help.
through it.
Okay,
you know,
I'm
but-
taking you up on that one.
Yeah.
I'd be glad to sit with you, and
I'm happy to pull the numbers up and help you. And
I'm better
help
with
me.
numbers than words, as
Yeah.
you can
Cool.
all tell.
All right, I'll do that.
I think you're good at both, but I think we all have to figure out which part of this we want to, we're most
Well,
comfortable
a
with.
simple ratio of
Yeah.
the budget
I'm all with you
to
for
the
numbers.
amount that we produce as value. It's not really a savings, it's a value.
Yeah. I agree with you. Thank you. That can be put into numbers.
Yeah, 3 to 1.
So are we good with strategic
Yeah, I
planning
think so.
until the 13th?
Yes, so,
Awesome.
all right, let's talk about mission, vision, and goals. Or mission and
There's a
vision.
handout for that too. Thank you very much.
One of them's
So this is new as of today.
Well, I have it.
it's a
I'm
double
trying to
sided.
prove to myself that I did this.
Since we even changed it, I'm impressed.
I'm on this stuff. It's amazing when I produce a piece of
So
paper. you go,
Connie,
"Oh."
these handouts, if I just link them to the minutes, that should be enough? Okay.
Now, if you had it on stone tablet, I'd be really impressed. Did you take note that I added in from your feedback?
I was looking
So
for that.
we
It's up
didn't
here,
talk to you about this
mission
yet, 'cause we
statement.
just
This
met
is our-
this morning.
Our edited,
Okay,
Yes.
and I
just
took in
just
feedback
so you understand
from the last meeting.
Okay.
No,
But
but you
then,
need to
in
be involved
addition,
in
because we
this.
did look
I'm
at,
just
we
saying,
pulled in
it changed
information
slightly
from mission
since the
statement
last time we
slash what's
talked about it
available
based on the
at the
Okay.
surrounding
discussion
towns.
at
So
the
we
last
have
meeting.
Barry, Westminster, Princeton, Gardner, and Templeton. And I don't want to speak ill of any of the wonderful libraries around us. And something we may want to consider, and I would draw attention to, is that in looking for surrounding towns' mission statements, what we could find from Levy Haywood was a non-discrimination policy. But we couldn't find a mission statement.
Okay.
But it was interesting to find a non-discrimination policy, and that is something that we may want to consider further when we get into policies.
Okay.
And having taken into consideration feedback from the last trustee meeting, we have edited our mission statement proposal to try to include procuring items. So using the phrase procuring and ensuring access.
Okay.
And then we had meat before, but we didn't like meat.
So we provided, as we had a discussion about this today, other alternatives. So right now we have fulfill, with other options being expand, satisfy, or go back to meet
Ah.
each patron's educational, recreational, and cultural needs. Otherwise, it is very similar to last month's statement.
I think I like the word fulfill.
Fulfill.
And we hope that by adding in the statement, so honestly, if we read it in the way it reads right now, is Hubbardston Public Library is dedicated. That's another one we changed from strive to dedicated. So Hubbardston Public Library is dedicated to inspiring, supporting, and connecting our local community by procuring, and this is where we had the addition of how we will attain resources for patrons, and ensuring access to a variety of quality materials, technologies, programs, and services to fulfill each patron's educational, recreational, and cultural needs regardless of all ages, abilities, or background.
Regardless of age.
Mhm.
Regardless of.
We strive to be a reliable resource, ensuring that our community has access to the materials and information they seek, fostering a culture of lifelong learning and discovery.
So the second sentence is added. But it's also could potentially be incorporated into the vision statement.
Yes. So we had that sentence, but we also put it underneath, like, the vision, because we felt it was kind of more visionary.
If we're gonna use age singular, I think abilities
Yes.
has to be singular.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially where background is singular.
So then you would drop the all and just make
Mhm.
it as,
Mm-hmm.
Age, ability, and or background.
Regardless of age, yeah.
Ability or background.
Mhm.
okay.
How do the trustees feel with regards to going back to the word of fulfill in services to fulfill, to expand, to satisfy, to meet each patron's?
I think fulfill exceeds meet. If you meet something, it's level with it. If you
Yeah.
fulfill it, I think they feel full, a little more than meet.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I
Yeah.
think the same is kind of true with like satisfy.
Yep.
Like satisfy is like,
Yeah.
you know, and expand each patron's. Not everybody wants to be expanded.
Right.
Where is expand?
It's
It
on-
was just one of those choices.
One of the
Oh.
choices of
Okay,
expand,
thank
satisfy,
you.
or meet.
Sorry, I've already crossed that out.
I'm not 100% sure about procuring because,
So this was our almost one word answer to and how we were trying to meet how we will go out and find items of patrons' requests.
but I think that's ensuring access.
So that's what we had before, last month. And there was still something to where
Well,
we
no, I
needed to
think
address
we
the
had
need.
meet the needs. That was the problem last time. I'm just worried about procuring because we're not necessarily actually procuring everything. You're not
Well,
buying everything.
procuring isn't necessarily monetary.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's, the MARS system is procuring, they're going and getting it.
okay. Well, that's fine.
Is there another word that sounds less what's the word for money?
Well, I just feel like ensuring
Procuring.
access might be enough, but I understand what you're saying.
When the first thing
All
you
right,
walk
so
in,
the proper definition of procure is to get possession of something, to obtain something by particular care and effort. And I think that identifies what we try to do.
Great, okay.
So this was in response to, and I think it was Tom who had said of how do we put into the mission saying if a patron comes in and says, I want Moby Dick, and we don't have it, how we would go and say that it wasn't available at any of the surrounding towns, we would try to go and either purchase or otherwise. And
Get it
the
one way or another.
extent
Yeah.
by which
Okay.
our library staff
Okay.
go to obtain materials.
So we're trying to make this be realistic but more aspirational based on our, discussion last time.
challenge us. We'll see if we can get it.
And then if the trustees feel more comfortable with that last statement, starting with, we strive to be a reliable resource, can be moved to, and we have a proposed vision statement that we feel like it could be part of. And it doesn't need to be in both places, is what we're,
Yeah, I don't think it should be in both places.
No.
yeah.
And when I hear, I feel like it fits better in the vision
Mm-hmm.
because it's slightly redundant
Mhm.
on the first sentence.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit different, but there's enough of it there that it's a little bit repetitive.
So are the trustees comfortable with removing that statement from the mission, keeping it as it reads right now in our proposed vision? We have it as well, basically. Through our collection services and programs, we strive.
Can we be bolder instead of saying strive?
Yes.
We will be
We
a
will
reliable
be.
resource.
We are.
We are.
Because that's what,
Well,
according to this book,
yeah.
that's what the vision is supposed to be. If you're fulfilling your mission, then that's what the vision statement is. So we will, so we are. We, through our collection services and programs, we will be.
We will be or we are, but strive just means like we're gonna try.
Correct. I agree with you.
We will be.
I feel like the vision should be read as something to be obtained and always there versus this is where we're at. So if we put it in the phrasing of we will be, or if you're more comfortable with other words, I'm happy to replace. But at the time being of rather than strive, it would be we will be a reliable resource.
So the mission statement ends with background.
How do you feel about that?
Sure.
Okay. The other thing that we mentioned with regards to, we had a little discussion with regards to having it regardless of ages, ability, or background, is if / when we go back to the policies more in depth, if we were to add a non-discriminatory policy, that may be something that we then want to go back to the mission and say it fits more appropriately of having this phrasing in a non-discriminatory policy. But at this time, I'm more comfortable with having it here than not having it at all.
I like it here.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Forever.
Okay.
I like it here.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Good.
Okay.
And then we're
Great.
keeping procuring and insuring.
I would like to.
Okay.
Good.
Do you guys like that?
Yeah.
And-
I think you're right.
Similar to any goals, I feel like the library trustees' role after having, I mean, we have a current mission statement, but every now and then we should go back and say, does this meet our current mission and vision? Does this meet the cultural needs of our community? And as things change, as they always do, we'll update.
And when we present these to the public, is the mission statement always linked to the vision?
Yeah,
Physically
pretty
on
much.
the same page?
Yes, it is mission.
So I'm
Does it I think it
so
has to
glad
be.
that you asked
Yes.
that. Do you have access to showing them
Well,
the,
the
I
very-
think that we should show you guys that later. We have this cute little
Good.
outline.
As long as it's linked. They've
Wait,
gotta
I'm
be-
not sure what you're asking for.
The,
In the
There's
book?
Siamese
it wasn't the
twins.
tabs, no. How we
Oh.
envisioned having the policies in general, which at the kind of beginning, unless it fits better on the website elsewhere and else, like having policies is, we'd have the mission and vision. And I almost kind of feel like they are their own. They'll also be, I would assume they're normally always included in like the strategic goals, things like that.
They're included in most documentation that we
Yeah.
provide. For example, the annual town report, I believe, begins with the mission statement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm not sure. how
At
to
some
bring
point,
them
we
up.
might want to consider too is like value statements. And I don't know if you guys have started thinking about that at
No.
all.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because in this chart, the first one, the Barry Library, they have their mission statement and then they have these top service priorities. So it's not really the same as, I mean, I guess it could be the same as values, but I just thought they just have it like, just graphically and everything. I think it looks really nice because it just highlights both of those things. So we don't necessarily need to have these as our priorities, but I think it's a good way to tie it all together. The name. You have it on a paper, so it doesn't really help. But I put the links in the name.
Beautiful. Oh, that's where they moved to. Okay, beautiful.
So we are still working on the other policies, but not just kind of in the background because we're busy doing our strategic plan.
Sure. Do we need a vote to approve the new mission statement?
I don't think it would hurt.
I'd be glad to make that motion,
Great.
that we approve the proposed mission statement up through the word background, and we propose in the,
With the edits discussed tonight of,
yeah, well, it's
Philip.
just eliminate the parenthetical.
yep.
And then I flipped the page and I'm lost. Ah, here it is. And the proposed vision statement, with the second sentence being the second sentence of the original objective.
And also the change of strive to will be.
Strive to will. That wasn't very
Will be.
clear, but we're
I
on
think
tape.
I have it written on here,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I'll second. All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? 400.
See, I told you I was better with numbers than words.
It's that
This is
engineering
great.
background.
Good job, folks.
Yes.
I like it.
It's good, thank you. Moving along, Morgan, I think you were gonna maybe reach out to the CERT.
So, real quickly, they were awarded a grant yesterday, was the third, an EMPG grant. More details will be forthcoming, and I'm a little bit unclear because I saw 2 dates float out. One was February 6th, but then I think we settled on February 15th for the next CERT meeting,
Okay.
which will fall after our next February meeting. But I've been in touch with Judy as well.
So the grant was awarded to who?
Hubbardson CERT.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Great, thank you for accepting the
And
the
with,
grant.
with the trustees' okayness, I've asked if Judy does have any things that she would like to bring, and when she's comfortable with talking with the library, either we'll bring her in as a guest or
Okay.
provide a statement. And we'll,
Yep.
Who is Judy? Sorry.
Judy O'Donnell, sorry.
O'Donnell.
Hubbardston's emergency director, I want to say, as well as the director of CERT. I'm not sure, and apologize for any errors in
She's wearing
official
a number of
titles.
hats. She's also on the Board of Health, too.
She is
so.
also Board of Health.
She's also a nurse.
Yes, and head of MRC. And
I'll just say she'll be invited to a future meeting.
Good. I couldn't remember if we had any follow-up to the patio cleanup and furniture, other than we were gonna set up a cleanup day in spring.
We're waiting for a little warmer weather.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if we needed to figure out like doors and stuff like that, because,
The only thing would be to get permission to cut down the handrail.
okay.
I mean, if anybody wants to use the patio this weekend, I don't think there will be high demand.
No.
So what was that? Need permission to do what?
Take down the
There's a
handrail.
handrail there, and we gotta make sure that we don't remove a safety device, or if we do remove it, we have to replace it with something.
Or, I think we also probably need to reach out to the historical commission if we're taking out a part of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Is it part of the building?
The grounds, buildings,
I
and grounds,
would-
I would think.
I'll
You
We
check.
have- look at that paperwork.
We have that,
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me, though.
yeah, but we might just need to
All right.
do a quick check
Well,
on
we
that.
have
That's a
time.
good
It's not
point,
gonna be
yeah.
warm right away.
Yeah, exactly.
The historical commission of our town, or the
State.
Mass Historic?
Like the National Registry
Yep,
that our
yep.
building's on, because there's a document that we make any kind of change to the building.
We
That
have to-
rail isn't there originally. I have pictures that,
Okay, however, we still have to cover our bases.
Yes,
I'm-
I would not want
I'm
to.
pressing it.
to
Were
get
you
in
there
trouble.
when it was installed?
Oh.
Tom, I'm sorry.
That's almost as bad as asking if he was around when the fire happened.
All right.
No one even noticed that I cleaned up my act. Got
The
a
beard.
haircut,
I'd say you
got
look
rid of the
pretty
beard.
Yeah.
I thought that was the question we were supposed to ask you after the meeting.
All right, moving on to standing items. Events for January, we had to submit CPC grants. I don't think we have anything to submit to CPC right now.
Yeah.
Because we
Have standing.
have a lot of standing
Funds to finish.
To finish, so.
However, I think it's good to have that on the calendar for 2025.
Oh, yeah, and this
Yeah.
will, we just constantly
Exactly.
visit this
I agree.
calendar every year. So we're kind of looking good there.
Oh, may I ask the trustees, Tom, the rubric for the scholarship, I would like to tweak in preparation for like sending out advertisement, et cetera, and likewise gain advertisement. Trish may want to have, if she doesn't have enough on her plate, to think about how to best advertise and promote Facebook, Instagram, etc. for the scholarships, and if she has any other ideas about how to. I think it's too old for the storybook crowd, but she might still be useful for that.
Well, it's the mothers, the link.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, especially where she's savvy in social media, she might want to promote it in some way. Are the trustees comfortable with having the rubric just tweaked a little bit, as well as scholarships, and we'll bring it, and then in meeting with, I've worked with you in the past as a subcommittee, would you be interested, or?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm wondering, does Patricia gather names and email addresses of the attendees?
No.
Is that appropriate or inappropriate?
I'm not sure it's appropriate for the reason that when you go into the library, we're not supposed to track
There's
them.
anonymity.
You know, and there's an implied, and thank you, that word, anonymity,
I know
that
about
one.
that.
Yeah, that one. When you come into the library.
Is there
And,
an option to, if people want to be part of an email list,
Well, we might
to be notified?
Instead of asking them, we might just push it. We might have a handout because it sounds like there's quite a crowd of mothers coming in and out of there, and even from Barry, where
What are you suggesting to push?
the
Information?
existence of the scholarship opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Can we utilize the Hubbardston announcement, the town announcements
Certainly.
more?
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to do it like for the road race,
Yeah.
and it didn't get announced.
Oh,
But there's a form you fill out, and then someone has to approve it. Same thing with the digital sign. Like there's a form you fill out, and then it has to be approved before it can get posted. But yes, we can utilize it more.
There's several other avenues. There's the senior center newsletter and some other things we can. A lot of grandchildren in this town.
Yep.
All right, town awards for repairs. First floor rehab is kind of not happening right now. Foundation repair. I saw an email that you sent.
Yeah, I sent yet another invitation to our favorite Mason, and haven't heard back.
Okay.
Almost ready to go down to his office, pull up into the parking lot and ask him.
Okay. There are also a couple other Masons listed in the final report from Wendy Frontiero that if we're not getting any traction with this current person,
All right.
we could maybe follow up, or maybe reach out to some of these other ones and see if they are able to offer assistance.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm putting that down as an action item.
The other action item for me is the patio cleanup. All right.
Okay.
So, pointing and brick repair, are we holding off on that for a bit?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a historical problem, or I mean a image problem, a vision problem.
Okay. I sent you all the final report and letter from Wendy a couple weeks ago. Things I had asked her to clarify, which is in the letter, it's not in the report, but it's in the letter, is the prioritization or the sequencing of stuff.
Right.
she pretty much said there really isn't necessarily, a lot of things can be done in tandem.
Mhm.
So I gave her the example of like the foundation repair and then the this grading in front of the library. She's like, that can all happen simultaneously.
Mhm.
You know, so there isn't nothing in there necessarily has to be done like in an exact order, but many things can be done at the same time.
Got it.
And then I asked her about what things are completely cosmetic and what things are, you know, kind of need to be done to help us prioritize. And she gave us a list of, there's like maybe 3 or 4 things that she said that were like really purely cosmetic.
Mhm.
I think it was like getting the rust off the rails, you know.
Yep.
So we got the answers to that. So we have that report. I sent it over to Nate, so he would have it. So we have that as some things to keep in mind as we continue to make capital improvements to the building. So we have not heard back yet from Green Energy as to whether or not we got the grant, but they
Okay.
said we'd probably hear that in the early part of the year. So I'm thinking January, February we might hear,
Okay.
and that will make a determination as to whether or not how much upgrading we're doing to the panel. So
But we told him that we
I
okay.
didn't.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
No. I didn't. I mean, I didn't. We know that we'll have the funding to do it. But we haven't talked to Nate about it yet. But when I talked to him in November, December, he was like, "We're not going to hear until 2024, like early 2024." And given that's only the 4th, it's early, very early. Other things you'd like to talk, or any items that that have come up that was not reasonably anticipated before I sent out the agenda. No?
Oh, I totally forgot about this. I should have put it in my director's report. So the button for opening the door wasn't working, and so I brought it back to my resident expert on soldering, and it was the wires were starting to fray. So there was like one wire out of that whole braided thing that was actually connected to the board that communicates. So it was soldered and gooped, so it will not bend at that spot anymore, so it should be okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is any payment needed for that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that inspected?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I inspected it. It looked great. And then I tested it, and it worked.
Gotta have those QC steps.
Yes.
I'm just wondering about if we want to involve the select board in the strategic plan. Are we
That
going to
will
present?
come after, I think, the 13th when we
Okay,
form
so that'll
focus
be
groups.
later.
Yeah, I think
But
Yeah.
shortly after.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wanna,
I think that we'll have our plan of an action steps to take, and
that
we'll
would be
know at that meeting is what we're establishing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you just don't want to kind of go in blind. I think you want to go in saying this is what we're planning on doing.
Mhm.
Showing that we have.
But I think they should also have access to this report. So I don't know if would be at the same time or how we would,
Which report?
the consultant report.
I sent it to Nate. So
Okay, so you're assuming he's going to share it with them.
we can.
Oh.
Or we can also.
to the extent he thinks
Or
necessary.
when we invite and engage with them, we can furnish it
Well,
at that
that's what
time.
I'm thinking. I feel like we should be a little proactive about it because, money's going to be involved. So it's good if they know that there's now this detailed report that has all these things. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's urgent, but I just
Yeah.
think if we're going to them for some reason, we should also
Yes.
include that. Okay.
It's 8:30. I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second your motion to adjourn the meeting if needed.
Can you make a motion to adjourn?
I can motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I
I'll
second
third it.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned at 8:30. Thank you.